Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is the aftermath of Reloaded and our debut at Trevi Entertainment Center, and I gotta tell you, I don't know about you guys, but I'm completely wiped out. I mean, it was an experience of a lifetime for us. The fans had a ball. Everything from top to bottom was spectacular. You can tell the belt that's in front of the computer right now is not on the shoulder of neither Brandon Gatson or Rocky Romero. Devin Sparks got involved in the main event and screwed things up for both of those guys. Then Ryan Taylor came down and got his nose involved. And I made the decision to make it a four-way for the West Coast Heavyweight title next month, February 12th. And we'll decide once and for all who the champion is with all four top contenders. But guys, let's go over the meat and potatoes of it all. The show started off with an incredible, absolutely incredible opener. Johnny Suave, with his new attitude in tow, took on Tony Leo.
You know, it was a phenomenal contest, like you said, and it was a great way to kick off professional wrestling in Lake Elsinore. You touched on it earlier on in the show, you know, Lake Elsinore has not seen professional wrestling here in a long, long time. So, you know, we stormed into Lake Elsinore and we brought our A game, so to speak, and Johnny Suave brought his A game as well. Adam, you want to touch upon that a little bit?
I mean, he really, you know, he brought it tonight, guys. There's nothing more you could say about that. He's definitely changed a lot of his persona. He went from being a fan favorite to now just a guy that just doesn't care what the fans think.
You talk about excitement, you talk about intensity, you talk about action. Look no further than the triple threat match that occurred tonight for the #1 contendership for the Wildcard Title, rather. Kid Vegas, Jacob Diaz, and Ruben Iglesias. From start to finish, those guys, every single move they made in that ring was impactful. Kid Vegas ended up walking away the winner, and let's just say Haystacks, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but Haystacks has his hands full of Tyler Bateman, and it seemingly is, to me, that Haystacks has another target on his head with Kid Vegas.
I mean, Vegas was out here with Ric Ellis and myself up for commentary later on in the night, and he even said he doesn't know when he's going to cash in his title shot. It could literally come at any time, so that's got to be something that's going to be on the back of the mind of Crazy Kyle Haystacks, or, you know, whoever is the wild card champion by the time Kid Vegas challenges for that title.
Moving right along, the tag team match. I'm a huge tag team fan, and it's my personal journey to bring professional wrestling and tag team wrestling, I mean, just expose tag team wrestling out here, be the company that has the best tag team wrestling, and having the guys that we had in there, the A-list Dragon, Vintage Dragon and Synedrin, and then Ricky De La Paz and Dragon Mask, guys.
Now, I made no bones about it. I'm a big fan of the A-list. I'm a big fan of what they've accomplished, and quite frankly, tonight at Reloaded, the A-list were the all-stars at Reloaded. I mean, quite frankly, they put up a hell of a performance, and not taking anything away from the other two tag teams, but the A-list shined brighter than the rest. And that's, I mean, that's all that could be said. But that match was beyond that, possible show stealer, as I said in the beginning.
But the exclamation point was put on at the end of the match when, surprisingly, Rudy Luna, who's been a fan favorite for the past year, he's been with the company for the last seemingly came out. Now we understood, with his brother in tow and their father, and they came out and laid wreckage, absolute wreckage to the victors, Vintage Dragon and Synedrin. And those guys, I mean, a combined weight of at least 700 and some odd pounds, with their manager, who's been in the game for the past 35, 40 years. I mean, these guys are going to be a force to be reckoned with. More on that later. Moving right along, what can you say? What can you possibly say about Devin Sparks and Ryan Taylor that wasn't already said in the ring, guys?
I mean, you know, I touched on it earlier. You know, Ryan Taylor is the striker, you know, of Southern California. You know, he spent time in Japan, all over the NWA, all over PWG, all over all these places, and this was undoubtedly a challenge for Devin Sparks, much like it was a challenge for me when I faced Ryan Taylor back in August. And you know, Devin really stepped up to the plate, and we also touched upon it earlier that Devin may be a little bit more focused than he has been in recent months, but he also is a little off. He's something's up in that head of his, and I can't quite place it. I'm probably closer to him than anyone else in this company, but even me, I have to sit back and say, I don't even know what's wrong with Devin, and you know that's a far cry coming from someone with me, with my mental state half the time.
I mean, you can just look at him when you're in the locker room, and you can tell that some sort of switch has gone off in his head, or he's completely distanced himself from everyone. He doesn't speak to Rick as much anymore. I mean, he sits in the locker room and just stares at the wall, and then he comes out and he does the things that he does, where it just doesn't seem like he knows where he is or what he's doing.
Devin made his. We're going to have to put a continuation mark at that, moving towards the main event. But up next was Crazy Kyle Haystack's Wildcard Title. Crazy Kyle Haystacks and Tyler Bateman. Over a year ago, Tyler Bateman was last seen in the West Coast Wrestling Company, and we're not going to make any mistake about it. He left. He left the promotion, and not on good terms. So to see Tyler Bateman and Ray's back in the company it's weird. It's weird, but they came back with business on the mind and at hand, and tonight they gave Haystacks one hell of a run for his money and his wildcard title. In the end, Tyler Bateman walked out and got the 10 count on him. Haystacks still remained the wildcard champion.
Now you got to wonder. I mean, Bateman just left. Ray's grabbed him, took him away. Is this all a part of Bateman's grand plan that he has for Haystacks? Because he said it. He doesn't care about the title. The title is not what is his main focus. His main focus is to hurt Haystacks.
And also, I've touched upon it that, and I've said it many times throughout the match, especially Ray's is the mastermind. She is the brains beyond that whole operation. Not taking anything away from Tyler Bateman. He's a hell of a competitor, but he is strictly that. I think Ray's at the forefront. I think she completely controls him in all aspects. And you saw it towards the end of the match when she grabbed him and pretty much forced him out. What does that leave for the wild card picture, like we discussed earlier? Now you got Kid Vegas, the #1 contender. You got Tyler Bateman coming
Absolutely.
out. It's a lot of unanswered questions that it's going to be very interesting.
The events that unfold lead to February 12th. One thing that's definitely lead into February 12th was the main event between Brandon Gatson and Rocky Romero for this West Coast Heavyweight Championship.
Jeez.
Those guys put on a clinic. Rocky Romero had a hand in Brandon Gatson's early beginnings, and it was kind of a student-teacher deal. But these guys, man, the crowd was 1 minute pro Rocky, 1 minute against Rocky, pro Gat. It was a human game of chess with the audience. And to have two guys come into the West Coast Wrestling Company and be able to do something like that is never done anymore. Guys forget how to do that. These guys put on more than a show tonight. In the end, Devin Sparks came in and pretty much crapped on everybody in the ring, leading Ryan Taylor to come out and not to be finished with earlier events. Ryan Taylor came out and got his piece in the action, and the only way I see things fit is by making those four wrestle each other next month for this West Coast Heavyweight Championship. Once and for all, there will be a winner.
If you thought this main event was something, February 12th is just a cut above the rest. A fatal four-way. 3 top names in Southern California. Two of those names are international superstars. And Devin Sparks is a rising up-and-comer, but he definitely, as I touched on it before, he's got a screw loose, guys, and that's very dangerous. And Devin said it before. He's got nothing to lose, and there's nothing more dangerous in this world than someone who has nothing to lose.
We leave this show with more unanswered questions than I think any other show that we've ever had. It's definitely going to be a test to see what happens for all of us here at the West Coast Wrestling Company. This has been an absolute unbelievable night. Ladies and gentlemen, for Adam Jones, for Ric Ellis, I'm Adam Ginsberg. broadcasting live here from Trevi Entertainment Center in beautiful Lake Elsinore, California. And boy, what a hell of a night. So long, everybody.